Hi, so this video is about how to build a minimalist agency. What is a minimalist agency? Well, a minimalist agency is an agency that focuses on two things. They're laser focused on client acquisition and the strategy they implement for their clients. Because these are the two things that are going to set their agency apart. This is the DNA of their agency. Links, content, deliverables, they're not commoditized, but they're almost too specialized for an agency to start worrying about. If an agency starts worrying about building a content team, building a link building team, building a video team, or even social team, they're going to lose focus on what really sets them apart. There are already specialists and there are already vendors out there doing these things way better than an agency who's getting clients, who's strategizing with clients. They're doing it way better than they can ever do it because they've got economies of scale, they've got compounded knowledge over the years, they've got compounded assets, resources. So you're never going to beat a link building company at link building. You're never going to beat a content writing agency at content writing. Now, of course, there's exceptions. There are very bad content companies, there are very bad link building companies, like with everything. But I just want to go over this model and let's see how you can fit it into your current agency model. So, a laser focus on client acquisition and strategy, I think, is the best chance of an agency succeeding. You can stay really lean, a really lean team of account managers, strategists, and outsource the rest. And even companies like Apple do this. So, Apple, their DNA is in the branding. Their DNA is in the marketing, the selling of these products, the design of these products. Their DNA isn't in building the best screens or the best batteries or the best processors. Apple themselves, they outsource the screens to Samsung. They outsource the battery to some other company in Taiwan, processors to a company in Taiwan. The camera gets built by Sony. So why do they do this? Why don't Apple build a camera team, and why don't they build a processor team, and why don't they build a team that builds the screens? Because there are already companies out there doing this way better than they can. They've been doing it for years. They've got the compounding knowledge. They've got economies of scale. They're probably building it for lots of different tech companies. Samsung are probably building screens for loads of different tech companies. So they've got the economies of scale. They've got the compounding knowledge, compounded assets, compounded resource, way more than Apple have got. So by outsourcing this to other companies that already do these things, batteries, processors, screens, they're skipping years ahead. They are, they're automatically getting all this resource, knowledge, assets by outsourcing it rather than building it themselves over years. And they make enough margin to make it work for them. They haven't got to employ loads more staff, build loads more processes. They can just simply outsource it. And their DNA, their leverage point is in the branding and the marketing and the design of the products. So Taylor Swift even done this. So Taylor Swift does $1 billion tours and she's got like less than 20 employees. Salman Mustafa, the CEO at Ambigo, check out Ambigo if you've got any software needs, by the way. But he did a post about this, and I really like this. I don't know how other, musicians or touring artists deal with this, but he's highlighted that, Taylor Swift tours, $1 billion, less than 20 employees, because she keeps a close-knit team of operators, of people who are, dealing with the stuff close to home. And then the rest of it, the stuff that's like commoditized, building the stage, sound system, lighting, and all this stuff is done by contractors. So obviously she probably, for every tour she does or for every show she does, she probably needs a team of 100 people or, more. So I just found this quite interesting that Taylor Swift is following a minimalist model. Like I say, I don't know much about how Taylor Swift operates or any other musician really, but I just thought that was interesting that, be like Taylor Swift with your SEO agency. And just to go deeper into into why it's better to outsource the deliverables and focus on acquisition and strategy. It's easier to plug in a content agency. So for the content side, there are content agencies out there with hundreds or maybe a network of 1,000 writers or more. And they write every single day. They're hiring writers. They've got the proofreading process. They've got the hiring process. They've got the templates. They've got the briefs. They do content that much every day. A crazy scale that you as an SEO agency were focusing on many different things. You're not going to compete with the guys that do only one thing and they do it over and over again. So my advice would be to find a good content agency that you can trust, that fits in with your processes, and give them the content deliverables. It's got to fit in with your margins. It's got to fit financially. It's got to fit quality wise. But in my experience, for a small, mid-sized agency, even a big agency, outsourcing the content makes so much sense and means you can focus on the stuff that's important to you. You know, as I've put in here, content agencies have got built-in scale. They've got compounding knowledge. They've got assets, resources, all to do with content that it's going to take you years to build up. So like Apple outsources their screens, you can outsource your content side. And the same goes for links, which is another side of SEO. There are link building companies out there, link building agencies that have been going for 10 plus years. They've built resources, partnerships, assets. They've got software that does link building so efficiently that you just starting out, or even you as an agency that focuses on many things, not just link building, you can't compete with these guys because they're only doing link building. And they're probably servicing your competitors. They're probably servicing other agencies, other brands. So they've got economies of scale, so they can do this not only more efficiently but cheaper than you can. They've got their own processes. They've already got their own experts. It's just skipping 5 years. You know, if you just go to a link vendor, it's got to work financially, it's got to work quality wise, but it just makes sense. And then the good thing about this is, like, this is something that doesn't get spoke about much, but when there's a downturn in the economy, or there's a downturn industry-wise, you know, something like AI disrupts the industry, or something else, or a Google update, things can change, revenues can change, and demand can change. Now, you don't want to be left with loads of people on the payroll, loads of content writers, loads of link builders, loads of video guys, loads of social guys, all on the payroll when something happens. You know, something changes and demand changes and you've got to pivot fast. You don't want to be left with that. What you want to have, ideally, is a bill that goes up and down each month, depending on how many clients you've got. So it's a really nice, easy thing to understand. You know, you get 10 more clients, your bill goes up this much, depending on their service level or whatever, but you can predictably understand how much profit you're going to make if you use an outsourced provider. If you've got people on payroll, you don't know. I mean, you're paying them the same every month no matter what your demand is. So this is why I say your payroll should be people that are indispensable. And then you should outsource the commodities or the deliverables or the things that other companies can do better than you because they're specialised and they do it every single day. And that's this point here, really. Predictable margins. It's really nice to know how much profit you'll make from a client. And it's really nice to know that if that client leaves, or if there's an industry downturn, or maybe you get 100 more clients in a year, it's nice to know that you can do that probably without hiring loads more staff because you've got these outsourced vendors that you can rely on. You've got to pick the right vendors though. And then the last point here is focus. So obviously being a lean minimalist agency means that you can focus on these two things, which is building a strategy for your clients. This is your DNA. This is, you know, as an SEO agency, your field of expertise shouldn't be how good you build links or how good you write content. It should be how it all fits together and how well you can orchestrate all these moving parts and get results for your clients. There's no one else who can do that like you. The link building agency can't come up for strategy. The content agency cannot come up for strategy. The social team, the social vendors or the video guys, they can't come up for strategy, but you can. And that's your DNA. And then client acquisition, obviously, no one's going to get you clients. You can work with cold sales teams, or you can work with lead generation companies or whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your branding and it's your case studies and it's your how you position yourselves that's going to get you the clients. So you need to focus on these two things. These are the highest leverage points for your agency. The rest can be outsourced, and it can be outsourced brilliantly and fit into your strategy. The links can be good, or links can be bad, or links can be absolutely amazing, but without the right strategy, they're worth nothing. And content can be amazing, but without the right strategy, it's worth nothing. So this is your highest leverage point, strategy, and obviously you need the clients. Now, are there some exceptions to this? Yes, I think there is. I've spoke to a few agencies who actually do all this stuff in-house, and the ones that do it really well, or that they are succeeding, obviously, because I know their revenues, they're so big that they've got the kind of scale to build their own in-house content team, to build their in-house link building team. They're out the woods enough, so to speak, that they can afford to build this team, and things like economy changes or industry changes won't affect them. And they do it in a really good way. They've got the buying power to get these economies of scale, and they've got enough clients to build up these assets, network, knowledge, and even like software tools, automations. So yeah, I think if you're big enough, it's an option, I think, to go in-house and maybe bring some of it or most of it in-house. But especially for the small to medium-sized agencies, I don't think there's any other way. I think you've got to be looking at these two things, outsource the rest, and stay lean, minimal, and scalable. So that's the end of the video. Hope you like it. Please do like and subscribe if you do, and I'll see you on the next one.